I would say in public that any human being who use religion to divide, they are not humane, and are they God-loving or God-fearing? I would say that, yes. Now, essentially, if we look at the word humanity, if I'm not mistaken, it comes from the Latin word humanitas, which essentially means human nature or kindness. But the word, as has been understood among most of us, humanity generally, when you say humanity, it tends to mean that it is the kindness or the benevolent or the good part of human nature. So that's what humanity is a very positive word. Even though in another context, humanity can also mean the human beings themselves. But generally speaking, when we say humanity, we're talking about the good nature of human beings, the better part of human nature. When you relate that to religion is something else altogether. Religion is something which you understand to be a system, and you find that in every religion there's a similar system, in a sense that in religion they believe in a god or in some superpower. Then you find that the religion, it is organized. They have priests, they have sacred textbooks, they have followers, they have set guidelines and rules and so on. So humanity and religion are actually two different things, even though you may find humanity in religion. But you need not necessarily find religion in humanity. In other words, you can say that humanity can be a subset in some religion, or if in all religion, if it is interpreted in that manner. But humanity and religion are not equal. They are two different things altogether. I would say this. I would say that humanity is something that we can actually find it ourselves, even without religion. I think it's a big mistake in my own personal view to think that only those with religion can be humane. Though I do know that those with religion can also be humane, but at the same time you must understand that the wrongful interpretation of religion has also led human beings to be very inhumane. There are many examples in the world. One current example that's all over the world is, of course, the terrorism that is linked towards Islam. Though it is not Islam, but it is linked towards Islam. And you find these people make the wrong interpretations, the extreme interpretations of Islamic religion, and they become very inhumane. Therefore, it is not correct to say, in my view, that religion leads to humanity. So what leads to humanity? To me, what leads to humanity is getting in touch with your human nature. Now, once we understand that human nature has got both goodness and bad, virtue and evil, and through life, through looking at our own experience, looking at the experience of human beings, we will realize that it is actually good to be good. We are good because it benefits us, and collectively we all benefit from each other being good. I mean, can you imagine, Shirin, if we are cruel to each other? Now, sooner or later, both of us are going to be unhappy. So there will be collective unhappiness in society. So humanity is getting in touch with the better nature of human beings, the kindness in us, the compassion in us, and so on. And I truly believe that every human being, if they're given the chance and given the correct setting, correct political setting, correct social setting, correct all sorts of necessary settings around us, we can all be humane. But let's not make a mistake that humanity equals religion. No. Now, I will not say that humanity is more important than religion. For some people, in their mindset, they have this mindset that their religion will allow them to be humane. Now, for those kind of people, when they have the mindset that their religion allows them to be humane, for instance, there are some Christians who believe that Jesus Christ teaches love, and through that they love others. Similarly, also there are many Muslims who are very cognizant, very aware that whenever they do something, they say Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, most gracious, and these things let them to be compassionate and to be kind. So in that sense, yes. But however, I believe that we can all be humane without being religious. Again, they're two separate things. I like to say again that being humane embracing humanity and being religious are two separate things. You are humane, you get in touch with your humanity because you are aware that for there to be collective happiness in society, for us to be able to live as human beings, spiritually happy, physically happy, emotionally happy, we must all be kind and compassionate to each other. It is just as simple as that. I truly believe that in a multiracial society, what should be in the forefront is the fact that we are human beings. Now, every religion, whether it is Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, and any other great religions of the world, if you look at all those religions, we can easily interpret that all these religions say we are all from the same source. For example, if you look at the three Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity and Islam, all three of these Abrahamic religions believe two things. Number one, they believe that we are all from one person called Adam. Now that itself is a good concept, a good starting point for us to embrace each other regardless of any race. So I ask this question: if this Abrahamic religion people believe that all human beings are from Adam, how in the world can they allow themselves to be segregated into French, German, Russian, Malay, Chinese, Indian, Kazakh, and so on and so forth? So to me, if these people from the Abrahamic religion truly believe in Adam being the first man, first great grandfather, then there will be no racial tensions, no racial issues. We are one human being. Secondly, also, if you look at the other religion like Hinduism, Buddhism, and so on and so forth, they all believe in something called an Atman, or a soul, that we are all from a certain soul, and to a large extent, all religions tend to believe that we are from one transcendental soul, if you like, or God, if you like. Now, if all of us are from a certain image of God, what is this social ethnic construct, the artificial social ethnic construct called race, or ethnicity? So those are dividing factors. And I think I will say this, I will say in public that any human being who uses religion to divide, they are not humane, and are they God-loving or God-fearing? I would say that, yes. Now, when you talk about religion in Malaysia, it is a very complex matter. Religion in Malaysia has become an unnecessarily complex matter. The emphasis is on unnecessarily. Why? Because many reasons. Reason number one, if you look at Malaysia, for instance, Islam is a politicized religion. Now, Islam has become very politicized in this country because Islam is mentioned in the Federal Constitution as the religion of the Federation. So the moment that is the position, then you find that Islam as a religion becomes organized, becomes controlled, becomes monitored by the state. So whenever you have any religion that is controlled, monitored, and organized by the state, then you find that there are many legal issues. So these legal issues will cause problems between Muslims and non-Muslims, and at the same time within the Muslims themselves. That's one issue. Secondly, you also find that because in Malaysia, because of the fact that the Islam comes under the administration of the state, therefore you find that in Islam there is not much freedom to talk about Islam. Now, I find it very funny and very peculiar, that in Malaysia we are not honest with each other. And I'm talking about Muslims being honest with each other. We are always talking about problems between Muslims and non-Muslims, but we forget something very important. Are the Muslims themselves, the responsible Muslims themselves, are they themselves allowed to have a different interpretation of Islam? That is the issue. So you find that there is a lot of tension and conflict between the Muslims themselves because different interpretation of Islam, diverse understanding of Islam is not really allowed in this country. So what is allowed? What is allowed is the mainstream, state-defined understanding of Islam. So that's an issue. So to me, what is the solution to this? To me, the solution to this is to go back to the Quran. I'm a Muslim. As I understand the Quran is very, very clear that as far as faith is concerned, it's a matter between the individual and Allah. To me, when I read the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so confident that there are verses in the Quran which says that He does not need us, we need Him. In other words, Islam is not a religion which is like a membership club that requires many members. If you see the truth, you join Islam. If you don't see the truth, then that's up to you. And at the end of the day, Allah is the one who decides which is right, which is not right. So the point I'm making is, if the Muslims can go back to the Quran, that is Allah who will decide. There are no issues with differing views. Therefore, the issue between Muslims and non-Muslims will not arise at all. That's one. Number two, we talk about misunderstanding of Islam by the non-Muslims. I say, hello. As a Muslim, I say, let's clean up our own house first. Do the Muslims themselves understand their own religion? For instance, there are some issues I didn't even speak about it. I'll be very honest with you. I will not dare to talk about it. Can you imagine? I'm a Muslim, I'm a lawyer, and I've done Islamic jurisprudence in Yunoos Islam Antarabangsa, and yet I dare not talk about it because I'm concerned about what the authorities will say. Can you imagine some other normal citizen? Will they dare to talk about it? Now, is that an Islamic spirit? I don't think so. Now, we forget very easily that when our Prophet Muhammad when he sent a message of there's no Allah, there's no God but Allah. Remember how he was persecuted? Now, do you think that we come from religion, we come from a background where we were persecuted for speaking our religion? We will say there's no freedom of religion. So that's another issue. Now, the third issue I want to bring about this issue, in this matter is, we must allow Article 11 of the Federal Constitution. Now, to me, the interpretation of Article 11 of the Federal Constitution is that there's freedom of religion, meaning any one of us can be free to embrace whatever religion that you want. In other words, Seri, if we allow religion to be an individual matter, we will solve a lot of problems. We need to bring back religion, especially Islam, to the spiritual level. We have to take it away from the political level. If you want to solve the issue of religious conflicts from escalating, number one, we have to depoliticize religion, which is a very difficult task because no politician in this country want to depoliticize. Now, the reality is, you will find in Malaysia, the majority of the voters are Malays. And in Malaysia, Malays are Muslim. Therefore, in Malaysia, Malay equals Muslim equals Malay Muslim votes. So politicians will always use these two things to get votes. Number one, they will use the Malay issue to get votes. Number two, they will use the Islamic issue to get votes. Now, when I say they will use the Malay issues, I don't mean that it is necessarily good for the Malays. And when I say Islamic issues, I don't necessarily mean that it is good for Islam. They could abuse the Malays and abuse Islam for the votes. So if you want to have unity, number one is depoliticize Islam. Number two, depoliticize religion. Number three, depoliticize the Malay issue. I mean, I feel so sorry that the Malays, the ethnic group, being such good people, have become a political issue for the Malays to get votes, Malay politicians to get votes. So that's now. Secondly, if you want to solve the issue of tension, etc., between the races, we have to learn to be. The politicians must be honest. They must decide whether they want to be Malaysian or what. Now look at our politicians in this country. One day they want to be Malaysian, another day they want to be Chinese, another day they want to be a Kadazan, another day they want to be Indian, another day they want to be Chinese. So, you cannot. On Merdeka Day you speak as a Malaysian, on Hari Raya you speak as a Malay. Cannot. You must speak as one. Because you must decide to have a Malaysian dream. What is the Malaysian dream? The Malaysian dream is to be able to achieve a nation where every single Malaysian citizen is able to attain their own dream based on their abilities and talents without being obstructed by racial, religious obstacles. That must happen. So I ask you, Sharina, which leader in this country is ready to do that? Which political party in this country is ready to do that? So it becomes a chicken and egg question. The politicians say that the Rakyat is not ready. Now I ask this question. The Rakyat is ready it is the political parties and the political leaders who make sure that the rakyat is not ready, because they create that rakyat which says, no, we're not ready. That's a problem. So that's the second thing that we need. We need honest leaders with a vision. Minta maaf lah, I think from Merdeka, no, I won't say from Merdeka, from 1980s until now, I've yet to see, from 1980s I emphasize, from 1980s until now, I've yet to see a leader with a Malaysian vision. I'm excluding Tengku. Tunku Abdul Rahman had the Malaysian vision. Okay. So that's number two. Now thirdly is also our education system. There's something very wrong with the education system. Or I don't know whether something wrong with the education system. It is. But there is something wrong with the people who are entrusted to come up with the education policies. Can you imagine, after 63 years, we're still talking about racial unity? Isn't it a shame? It's a total shame. We can't decide whether we want a religious school. We can't decide whether we want a national school, or we want a vernacular school, or we want a Malay school. We can't decide. To me, the issue of Bahasa Malaysia is very simple. Bahasa Malaysia is a language of unity. Bahasa Malaysia is a language of unity. Bahasa Malaysia belongs to all Malaysians. Therefore, I do not like it when, for example, when a Malay politician talks about Bahasa Malaysia as if it's a Bahasa Melayu and it's a Malay issue. It's not a Malay issue, it's a Malaysian issue. Likewise also, I also do not like it when a non-Malay politician, for example, opposes the use of Bahasa Malaysia as though it's a Bahasa Melayu. No, Bahasa Malaysia is a Malaysian language. Even a Kelantanis with a Kelantanis logat, or a Penang guy like me with a Penang logat, we have to adjust ourselves to Bahasa Malaysia. You understand? Because our Bahasa Malaysia is based on the Bahasa Melayu of Johor. So this debate between some Malay politicians, ini Bahasa Melayu, stop it lah. Because when you say Bahasa Melayu, which Bahasa Melayu are you talking about? Are you talking about Bahasa Melayu Johor? Are you talking about Bahasa Melayu Kedah? Are you talking about Bahasa Melayu Penang? Are you talking about Bahasa Melayu Kelantan? Are you talking about Bahasa Melayu Terengganu? We have already decided. It is Bahasa Melayu based on Bahasa Johor. Stick to it. So tak payah, no need to disemangat, Bahasa Melayu, tak payah. It is just Bahasa Perpaduan. Bahasa, the language of unity. Now that is a separate issue from the vernacular schools, the religious schools and so on and so forth. So surely you find in this country, there are very few people who want to look at issues objectively without a muddled mind. Because everybody wants to be a temporary hero. That's the biggest problem. So thirdly, let us have objective-minded, national-oriented education policy, which has got a twin objective of number one, raising Malaysians to the education policy, and number two, raising capable, efficient Malaysians who are good in the respective areas, fields of their choice. Very easy. Well, to me, this may sound rather unkind, but I find that generally in Malaysia, whether it is the religious authority or the non-religious authority, generally I'm quite disappointed with many of these agencies and institutions in Malaysia. Generally, there are some that are good, but generally disappointed is because I think it's become a culture in Malaysia for the past 30, 40, 50 years that we have now gone to a level of mediocrity. We have become so mediocre. We do not encourage intellectual thinking. We do not encourage substantial debates. We are more concerned about what is politically right for now, because in Malaysia what can be politically right can change like the seasons very fast. And then, so there's no respect in our country for substantial thinking, for intellectual discussions, for those kind of things. In fact, the other thing I always say in Malaysia is, it's very difficult for someone who's intelligent, very clever to come up in Malaysia. It is well said in Malay lah. I always ask this question sama ada orang itu tokoh ataupun dipertokohkan. And I find in Malaysia there's more orang-orang yang dipertokohkan rather than tokoh yang lahir dan timbul secara natural. So those kind of things. So it's very sad. It's very sad I'm saying this, because when I was younger I was hoping that there be greater room for thought, for thinking, greater room for reading. I mean, Malaysia is a country where even the books that we read are controlled. And those who are controlling these are those people. I can imagine some civil servant sitting somewhere deciding what I should read, what I shouldn't read. Especially now in a world where there's internet. It's very shameful. Because, without sounding very arrogant, it's like somebody else with an IQ level of 0.001 deciding for you, or very low cognitive levels deciding for you. That's very unfair. So I think we should democratize thinking in this country. We should democratize reading in this country, and we should stop dividing these issues into religious, non-religious, and so on and so forth. And I don't know why we're expecting so much from the religious institutions. I think without having to say much, we know what they're capable of. And also it's very difficult for the religious institutions to come up with something uniform, because in our country, each state has got its own jurisdiction over the religious institution. So in that sense, we can never have a uniform religious thought in this country as far as Islam is concerned. So I think that's a separate issue, more complicated issue that's got to be addressed by itself. Unfortunately, most of us live in stereotypes. Unfortunately, this is not only Malaysia but all over the world. Human beings, we live in stereotypes. Why we live in stereotypes? Because of many reasons. One of the reasons is because that's the easiest way to live. We don't think much. We like to box people into boxes. Our own race is good, our own religion is good, our own family is good, other people are bad. It's always, it's a very stereotyping thing. Now, having said that, therefore, we must understand that each of us are determined by each of us. Maybe in your case, religion may have affected you to become a good person, but it could also be that religion could have affected you to be a bad person. So it is not the religion that is bad, it is how you perceive the religion that is bad. For example, I am a Muslim. I will never say or believe that Islam ever encourages or asks us to be violent. My reading the Quran tells me that it's a peaceful religion, but at the same time you have the Al-Qaeda, for example, you have in the Middle East, Al-Baghdadi, for example, you have the terrorists, ISIS. All of them are also interpreting the Quran to say that we need to be violent. So once again, it is not true to say that religion per se makes a person humane, or religion per se makes the person violent. It's not correct. What is correct? To me, what is correct is you got to determine yourself. If you get in touch with your humanity, I believe, if you get in touch with humanity, you know that you can be cruel, you can be kind. Then you know that kindness will beget kindness. Kindness is good for you in the whole world. You will become kind. To me, Seri, I'm a Muslim. I believe in my Quran. I believe in Allah. And yet I teach my own family. I teach myself that I should be good because I want to be good. Not because I'm a Muslim or because I think I want to be good because I want to be good. I want to be good because being good is good. Being kind is good. And whether or not as a Muslim I get pahala, I'm not concerned. It's Allah's business. I'm not a pengejar pahala. I try to do what little I can as best as I can with the facility Allah's given me. That's all. I think we should be more focused on doing good. I do not think we should pit humanity versus religion. We shouldn't, especially as a Muslim. As a Muslim, you should not put it as though it is either being humane or being a Muslim. You cannot do that. To me, very simple as a Muslim. I can only speak as a Muslim. As a Muslim, I keep saying all the time, number one, whatever I do, I start off by saying, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Mercy and gracious and kindness and compassion is humane, is humanity. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, if you look at the entire Quran, you find that there are many instances where Allah says, do good things. Stay from evil. What is that? To me, I define that as humanity. So in other words, I find that many verses in the Quran point you towards becoming humane. So for anybody to say that being human is liberal, I think number one, they don't understand what is humanity. Number two, they don't understand what is liberalism. Because the problem is the word humanity, the word liberal has permeated into so many different meanings. They think that liberal means do whatever you want. No, that's not true. Liberal and foolishness are not the same meaning. So to me, I don't think we should ever. I think it's a big mistake to pit humanity against religion. It's wrong. I do not agree with that. My Islam, as a Muslim, I find that my Quran teaches me to be humane, teaches me to get in touch with my humanity. And otherwise, I don't know why my Quran says be kind to my parents. That's humane. And my Quran also tells me that in verse 49, Surah 49, verse 13, and Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 13, where very clearly the Quran says that Allah created many languages, many colors, because it's a sign of His greatness, not for us to fight each other. Those kind of things. So it's mind-boggling for me. Like any Muslim were to tell me that being humane is being anti-Islam. I say, my God, being not humane is being anti-Islam. Oh wow, this is a very difficult question to answer, because of course biologically we all have the same heart, but when you talk about heart as in understanding, we all of course have different levels of understanding, and that's a very complex issue. And this is where I believe that the political leadership is very, very important. Unfortunately, whether in Malaysia or in many parts of the world, politicians have forgotten one very important thing, that they are there to lead human beings towards a vision. They are there to lead. To me, a politician, a good leader, must lead human beings to become better human beings. That to me is very important. You must lead human beings to become better human beings. So if we do that, then God willing, we will all have, in a sense, same hearts where it is commonalities. For example, you may live in a condominium. Yeah, you have your own condo, you have your own units, but at the same time you use the common facilities. So that common facilities, we can have the same heart. So I think we should focus on that common facilities, the same lift, the same staircases, and let's make that quality. It's okay that you live in a separate unit. So that part of it, I think, yes, we have to work towards creating a same heart, and we need to keep reminding each other that at the end of the day, we're human beings, and we must be aware of this. Why is it that when, for example, let's say, God forbid, let's say your son or your daughter, 3 years old, has got a bone marrow cancer, and the only one who can contribute that bone marrow is someone from another race, from another religion, will you say no? You will say yes. Now when we can be united when it comes to bencana, when it comes to disaster, why can't we be united in peace? This is the problem of human beings. The biggest problem with human beings is they're very arrogant when they're blessed. Sometimes I think as though human beings are asking God, please God, give us disaster, because they can't see the united when there's peace. They can't see the united when Allah is blessing them with everything. Yeah, so to me it's very simple. You got to ask basic questions like that. I get an accident, I need a blood transfusion. I want to ask, is she Russian or not? Because I'm American. You don't ask that question. You ask blood group apa? Blood group O or A? So we are more in line between O and A than Malay, Chinese, Indian, Kazakh, so on and so forth. This is a sign that we can't see. That's my answer.